Welcome. Thank you so much for tapping in, turning on, tuning in. We are just going to go in. Do not make fit something that need not apply. This is inner attainment for your entertainment. You use your discernment wise. Okay. This is tapping in, turning home, tuning in to a situation. Okay. Maybe you'll have some relation, or maybe some wisdom will uplift your nations into united ones, you see. Either way, this is inner attainment for your entertainment. And tapped in, turned on, tuned in, I am to this energy spin of this relationship, situationship, certain kind of confusion existing between one person and another person in regards to a future possibility, potential, but what that looks like is still unclear. For you have two individuals working together in some kind of way, and there's just still some level of disconnect that has them on two separate stages of the development of, are you wasting your fucking time? Like, what is the message? What is the missing component? What is the drag? What is the block, right? What is really real here? Is this just some cycle of karma bullshit that needs to just explode and finish? Or is there a new beginning here, ready to emerge, although there always is, for every story, development of anything? There's sometimes too, like when we're in the deep thick of something, it's hard, it's challenging to remove yourself from that which is occurring, to see with clarity, to see with such sight. It's like, people be like, oh, you would think, oh, you're so wise, right? Like, right? But making your own right decisions in your own life when you're in the thick of it all and going through it, it's not the easiest of things to do, to apply the tactics that to apply to you, to execute, right? So it's just like, like you can't skip the line. You have to go through, you gotta go in for your win every single time. But especially when love blurs every fucking line, right? It's like, is this love? Is this karma? Is this like toxic? Is this healthy? Is this wealthy? Is this what I need? Is this the stubbornness in me just holding on to certain kind of things because I need to prove to myself that I can self-sabotage too, and also make it harder for me to get through, you know what I mean? So it's like making the room. So whether you're tied to somebody, right? Whether you're tied to someone or not, the illusion or the desire or the drive behind building your own empire is tied to someone, tied to some ideology, tied to some conditioning or some imagery of how something is supposed to be. And then you have the measurement of life standing here before you and here. And even if everything seems quite, good, I should be grateful. Yet here we are lacking in gratitude, complaining about something that's not in the favor of that light of that which we desire to see. Call this a tarot monologue. You know what I mean? So we go into the thick of many kinds of things. So what this binding ideology, whether you're in a relationship or not in a relationship, but whatever the case may be, something that's binding you or tying you to something that's not satisfying you at the end of it. And granted, we are supposed to fill our own cups. Our cups are filled. It's a matter of perception and introspection and evolution are dependent upon that which you are on, right? But what discontent drives you mad or sad or disappointed or ambitious for all the wrong reasons? And what do I mean by all the wrong reasons? Right, whatever takes you there to get you there, to build you up, granted, could be the lack of reciprocity or the final victory dance that you do when you rise above that which has been an oppressor for you, suppressing you and all this stuff. And you're just building it on your tough, rough, like environment that pushes you to prove them wrong. That's still a karma song, right? Right? Because even after that victory of, you snubbed and you rose and you conquered and you applied and you were victorious in this fight for your life, it feels like something's still not right. What? Something's still not right. But I was right. I was right. Victor is me. Something's still incomplete. Do the humans not see the aliens that foresee and observe? Do they not learn? So they turn. Time to turn over a new leaf about this situation, this confusing place, with another that got you feeling some type of way. Whether the other is a actual person, place, thing, memory, experience, perception, wish you have. I want that thing right there to fulfill everything that is not happy for me in my life. This thing right here. Once I have it, I'll be happy. One of the most challenging views to release out here in the streets when you got all these other dominating energies selling me a different story. And now we got all this artistry up in here, giving me their rhyme, their reason, their paint, their season, selling me their treason, giving me a reason. But dissatisfaction seems to be in every season. What be the reason? This binding, this binding. I chose specifically these cards because I'm probably going to use different decks as well, because I got this one that was literally calling out to me. Right? I have that. I like, Again, this is a disclaimer kind of thing. This is entertainment for your entertainment. I use tarot as a way to convey that many kind of macro concepts of life that are hard to conceive. And so theatrical we need, dramatizing many kind of things. I have been using tarot and cards for 35 plus years. They speak to me in a whole other multidimensional reality that I see, whether anyone believes or wants to. I don't really give flying fudge. This is like the Bible, right? A parable to life, conveying messages in story like picturesque kind of ways to convey something deep that creators, visionaries, intuits, creatives, artists pick up the remnants of these pixels of light, abstracting concept, bringing that which is intangible, making it tangible for others to see. Introspection is deep, but projection is a conditioned response, taught and never explained. So here we are. The evolutions of revolutions of articulation here, presenting to those ready to connect, tap in, turn on, tune in the way that their creativity spin, eclectic be my flavor. So I know that those that are savoring the elixirs, that's some unique worldly fixers. And it's an honor to serve you in this kind of multidimensional way. And I like that I lose the other lacking in evolution and discipline persons that do not see beyond the veil. Superficial be there. What does she say? I can't listen to this today. I don't even know what she said. She's so weird. Okay. Bye, dear. When you get to this evolution right here, I will welcome you back. I got no issues with you at that, but whatever. So, but going back to this, anyways, you don't need cards. You don't need anybody to guide you, to rise you, to build you. Although in this day and age conditioned way of being, the distorted reality and the conditioned destruction that has led to so many dead fish swimming with the flow, waking up a little bit slow, getting into their know, calling it a woke sensation, and getting into their political nations and then aggravations, and then think they're like revolutionary and evolutionary and just problematic, working through their karma as they awaken to the sense of themselves and think they're doing something revolutionary, but just adding to the war with their roars. Ah, hear me roar. Something more. Vengeful be their layers too, saying they wish death and karma upon you. That's how you can tell a polluted vessel. I don't give a fuck how they say how revolutionary in any kind of way someone wants to say or claim themselves to be. The fact that you can fucking take pleasure and like build your world on like a revenge kind of righteousness, or like, ah, I that part, like, and just like taking pleasure at the idea that these people are gonna reap what they sow. Granted, everyone reaps what they sow. Danger, I know. That I've always really understood. I can get all self-righteous and questionary about my high horse stance that so many have loved to couldn't wait for the day to kick me off of. That way, whenever I messed up in any slight disapproving manner, this human be our platter, and our shit goes splatter. And we got our highs and our lows, and we got our highs and our lows. And fuck ups, we all know. Nobody's perfect. But there are differences between the evolution of certain persons in terms of not being rotten inside. And many ride the high, the popularity rise of rotten inside for the sake of being righteous in their current truth. Or polluting energy is still their rottency location. I know that's not a word, rottency, but I, I, I saw it like the avenue, crossroad street that certain people book Airbnbs at. The Rotten Sea Hotel. And I say that like jokingly because you could always check out. You could always check out. Like this brings me back to like even my childhood cry. That was a hard cry, and the same advice that was given to me by many a beautiful light worker energy type beautiful souls that I have had the honor and pleasure to have encountered in many of my life experiences that were pocket angels for me at many different trying times of my own developing in my own unique way. And like growing up in like, let's say, when the kids used to be so cruel and say all these horrible things, and thick be my skin. I come from an abusive environment. So people think just because you could take it, right? Just because you show a good, strong position, that means that shit don't phase you or shit don't hurt you, right? Most bullies are so hardened by their environment that they shut down their system of empathy and cruelty takes over, creating the environment of retaliation to show itself in bullying ways to people that they energetically, intuitively pick up on that will take their shit. And so it's kind of like a pleasurable act of 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 redemption for them in some kind of light because they shut off a valve in them because the part of them wronged made this right. And then there are the folk that, although defense mechanisms have been turned on. And this is going to be variables for everyone in different kind of songs, right? Because not everyone is going to defend themselves. Some will get picked on, some will get bullied, and some will made to be inferior, feel inferior, and put other people in ranks of superiority, and be victimized by their environment, and become like shells, and punching bags for many of horrible people that will do it because that person, that person is the only person that will take what they do and never curse them for it. And so it becomes an enabling system of tyrannical, twisted, distorted, unhealed acts of dark narcissism, unhealed versions of selves acting out the monsters they've allowed in. And this is where the two-way street, or the which way did it go, George? Which way did it go? Because there are folk that in all their abuse, in all the horror displayed upon to them, never wished upon even their oppressor, abuser, in any energy, wish kind of way. No matter, even if their words have cut through them, ever desired them to pay in any horrible way. Because that is not the fucking answer. That is part of the fucking problem. And so anyone, I feel, in all my evolution, that I ever hear in any capacity, way, use their platform to encourage or condone or take pleasure in wishing upon that, or desiring it, or, ha, yes, that is what they fucking deserve. You're sick is a different kind of deep sick than those you might be right about who do need help. And may your sick, unhealed version of yourself find your deepest truth and healing too, so that the stuck can move into the new beginnings that await us all when we release that which we can't control and surrender to that which is, and find our own peaceful resolutions, even when reality would not want or appear to give that to us. We're more than capable of honoring the cup, the well, the soul that we are, to desire it so much more, to gift it to our own well-being, knowing that when we good, all is good. And so the responsibility that we have to ourselves is going to be all the example of breed of seed that we need to be on this journey. Anyway, that was like, whoa, someone tapped in, turned on, tuned in, or came to visit. That whatever, that was for you, baby. Okay, so either way, back to what I was saying. So interesting enough, like I was saying, don't hold divination as a power that is higher than you. Use these if you connect with them as tools to help clarify or connect you more in interesting, colorful ways with that which what you choose to connect with, right? Higher self, God, spirit, ancestors, guides, whatever truth resonates for you. I'm not here to tell you what that is. You are free to resonate intuitively wherever you are, rightfully so. That's why I don't get into arguments about religion or certain kind of. I consider like Wiccan and those kind of things too, like practices and certain kind of things fall under the category of religion, no matter the denomination of preference. You know, I am a free spirit. There's no denomination I proclaim or claim as, you know. Um, I believe in the good of us all, and moralistic in terms of how I perceive things. Doesn't mean I'm proclaiming to be perfect. I'm an emotional, evolving being with many smooth swings and many developments of my own. And therefore, I too am not exempt from roller coaster rides of living. Granted, as you continue to evolve and alchemize, right, the articulation of your alchemize will show itself even in your reactives. So granted, 20 years ago, how reactive I was to my environment till now is, wow, the thing for development, evolution. and growth, right? I'm so glad. 20-year-old pop off to 20-year-old creative pop off now, right? Um, there has been major development, right, into my own behavioral my own behaviorisms and development, which is what I coach a lot of people through on, a lot of my DIY strategies and, things is it comes from experience and seeing the progression and the process that is required from each of us to actively take in the development of our own, transformations. And it's through multidimensional systems and understanding. I believe in understanding for our understanding so that we may overstand. And I strongly am guided in those ways of articulations to help others really understand their understanding for their powerful, successful overstand. So we break down a lot of macros by targeting their micros and how they come up for you, right? Because individual, unique is you. Everybody's on their own energetic spacing. So part of my gifts is really seeing through your spacing and helping you articulate that better for yourself, right? So if you're here too, and you're tapped in, turned on, tuned in, actually here, processing, you too have a gift of clarity, of sight when seeing. It's going to be different for everybody how the clarity of sight is in their ability, in your ability to understand a person's construction. People have probably, this is how, another way to see if this is you, because some of you might not be in the powerhouse of truth of really grabbing this as yours. People have tried to fuck with your no power, KNOW, because of maybe poor decisions you have made in your own life that they use against you or have used against you if they know you from those times of your own development to crucify you, to try to diminish or destroy the wisdom of your own articulations and guidance. Yet they come to you for everything and see like it's just a lack of like giving credit where credit's due. It's like people like to admire you quietly and depending on if in their development of evolution, right? You're gonna be met with people that openly like acknowledge you. Those groupings might be the what feels like the least amount of people. Remember, because you're unique, and those least amount of people that can see your light and not be intimidated by it, or even if they find any leveling of intimidation by it, they're inspired by it to to honestly like feel good about being met with that trigger to really transform that because they're good people. You're good people, right? You're not gonna use that and be like, oh, I think the person's better, and like use it toxically or negatively. It's just like I want to be like I want to get to that point, like for yourself, like you see it as a push or something, or like and not like when I meet with someone that has a development of something that maybe I'm not fully developed on, or disciplined in, and it's an admirable trait. Now, there can come, it could be something that I aspire for myself, or it could be something that I don't aspire for myself, but can appreciate and admire in that person that they are all about. And really like um be good with what people like to call like, so people there's I'm noticing a lot of people in the spiritual community, they're talking about love bombing like on a negative kind of content because of their fakeness, their phoniness, and their falseness, because of their inability to be able to truly um, be that leveling of sincere, genuine, without any kind of intimidation or negativity to throw at it, to shade it. Like when I see something positive in another person, the last thing on my mind is how other people are perceiving my reception of that person when I'm talking to that person or saying something about that person. I don't give a fuck if it sounds like I'm kissing that person's ass to a person that's like, oh, what's her? Like, oh, she's just love bombing and all this kind of stuff for all the kind of wrong reasons. Now, what can switch and flip and make that love bomb a negative kind of thing where I will now, let's say next time, be reserved in the way that I maybe say something to this particular person in such a way, or whatever the case may be, is if that person be corny with their reception towards that which is mine. Like, you know what I mean? To me, in that kind of sense, I'm like, all right, they're not in that kind of a line to receive this kind of like, dynamic of just like real love. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like people talk about it. Like so many here in the spiritual community talk about this love, unity, why we can't come together kind of shit. And then when you got somebody that's coming together with that kind of shit, they're looking at you side-eye, or they're looking at you unprepared for that kind of development that they're talking about out there. And that's just a trigger for them to see where they are in that underdevelopment that they think they're so developed upon, because there should be no negative Nancy talk in about how you feel about anybody or any kind of reservation to your wanting to say something. I'm not going to gas that person up and like get up in their head and then they or egoic about this and that. That's you. That's you. That's you. Right. So right. So people like, nah, I'm not gonna gas her up. I'm not gonna, she probably gets a lot of compliments anyways. Like people that say stuff like that or whatever. Like I have gotten that. I have gotten, oh, I never say anything to you because I'm sure you get tired of all the time. You'd be surprised how, like, once, like, it's just so crazy. Like, when you're going through different stages, different multi dimensions of attraction factors and stuff like that, and whatever. Granted, I may have not lacked in the attraction factor of people being interested or being solicited for whatever, like in my life, like I've never fell short of attention. So when I had to go through the purge or the transformation or the transition of feeling insulted when people say I was conceited or full of myself and all this kind of stuff, or get out of the defense mode of having to defend that, or like I'm not conceited or I'm not full of myself. It's just tiring. Like you can't even walk down the street without being solicited. I come from the five boroughs. That's the kind of environment you're in. So it doesn't mean that now you move out of that environment that it's a little different, like granted, but you're still an attractive person. You still have charm, you still have charisma, you still have style, you still have like there's an attraction factor to you. So everywhere you go, someone's going to be looking or do a double take, or whatever the case may be. And granted, depending on the leveling of hoods you live in, it could be a little bit more severe, or if you're going to a club scene or something, it's just like, part of that for me, why I limited even just club scenes and those kind of environments and stuff like that until I got into my powerhouse. Because once I got into my powerhouse of like energy vortex, it was very interesting. The kind of like, there was this imaginary line that people just wouldn't fucking pass anymore, right? Even in a club environment. Like I remember, like, so prior to even like stuff like that, like the club season, because of the amount of attention and all eyes and like claustrophobia, and it could be claustrophobic and anxiety. I avoided those kind of things unless it was like a birthday, somebody's like thing or whatever. But then I had these moments where even now, most recently I had one, and then I had a kitchen dance, and I totally got over the moment. But for a while it was a buildup, and I think it was just more about going out and socializing. I think that was more of where that is leading. But you have these moments that, oh my God, I want to go out and dance. Like, not just in my house, I want to go out and dance, right? Um, and so I used to have those. And when I started getting into like, this is like, mind you, I know I look so beautiful. But 40 plus years of living, I got a lot of life experience, which is another thing too. You come on the scene and these bitches be thinking that I'm there in their age category and stuff like that. So they really get really competitive. And then once they realize, oh my God, you could be my daughter. like they chill a little bit. Like just the other day, I had this little, like whatever, chicken. I knew she was like my daughter's age. I knew she was like my daughter's age. And looking at me side eye, and because I look cute. I'm cute. And I am 20 plus years older than you and have had a lot of life experience working on my own personal stance, confidence, and position. Okay, so when I walk up in a scene and I'm cute, I'm not taking away from your cuteness, nor am I taking away anything from you. I'm in my own bubble of energetic vortex of motherfucking adorable. Okay, so that's just the way it is. And I'm perfectly content in that space. I have for many years have been made to feel uncomfortable because of my powerhouse vortex, that I would avoid many kind of public kind of things or kind of places, or like you see me, like I can even be up in a public scene and then all of a sudden I disappear. And where you find me, if you find me, because little being my nature and hide and go seek was my game. So I can disappear and be still there where I see everything and you don't see me. Perfectly content, up against the wall, dancing myself and all this kind of stuff or whatever. But once I got into my powerhouse zone, I remember the first time I recognized it, it was like we went to this 80s club. We went to this like 80s theme. It wasn't an 80s club, but it was an 80s theme thing, that thing. And I don't know if it was around like my sister's birthday time. I don't know, but because she was the one that it could have been like birthday celebration kind of stuff. And it just coincided with my I want to go dancing kind of flavor. So we went into this place in the city and stuff like that. And we were met with like many costumes. Like everybody that was there that worked in this place was all in costume, drag, um, um, 80s, like just go like dancers, like everything, like the scene was on and popping, aesthetically pleasing, lots of lights, neon lights and stuff like that. And before I had gotten like really crazy busy, for whatever reason, we got there maybe when it just started. I don't know, like, because I feel like we got to pick our space, our dance space, because at that time, um, there wasn't really like it was the dance floor part of where we found our space was empty. So I ran onto the dance floor. And what I loved about the dance floor now, right, which like totally like lit up my fairy dream, right? My elementals came out. I was like, wow, right? So I ran onto the dance floor. There were those square dance floors that lit up. So guess who claimed light up spaces on the floor? In this particular spot on the dance floor. So it was like magic because by the time the place got crowded and flooded, nobody and people asked permission. That is the thing. And it was just very enlightening. It's like, can I bring you just over here dance? I remember when they came respectfully, dudes, like just like, girls too, not just dudes. I'm just saying like it was just like this magic sphere that I got to like energetically um twirl around for a while before the scene got like intense. And And that was the whole, it was like this magical experience. And it was very enlightening for me. This was like 10 plus years ago. Okay? Yeah. And so I think I was still in my 20s, late 20s. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, and it was just, very, very enlightening about respecting my own energy, being clear in my space, even when I am outdoors where, you know, there's so many variables, right? And so, right, so I went off on a tangent and said this is a tarot monologue and stuff like that. But still, there's reasonings for these conversations that come up because if you're here, right, and you especially if you're here and you're listening, you are disciplined, much more fucking disciplined than the general public who will skim through this shit. They will skim through and they will take advantage of all the timestamps that I post. If you're really here and you're absorbing, you don't care about the timestamps, you're here for the evolution. And so you know the pockets of mana that you receive here, even if I take forever and the build up of that, because you receive so much. That's why in my bio it says bring your fucking notebook. Did you bring a notebook? Always bring a notebook, paper, pen, something to write down because there's just so much that you will get here. Even if I don't get to these things, because you know that this is not significant to the articulation of the thing. So many people are, this is trendy. When I started doing tarot publicly and stuff like this, it wasn't trendy. It was still like the people that were doing it, like I started, right? And there was a warming up to it. Now it's trendy, right? So people have banked off of trendy because popular would be their way, which is cool. But I'm just my spirit's pushing me, right? To to be that sort of justice of truth. If you into trending, great, be trendy. Go look at the titles of pick cards and all that kind of stuff that you want to tap into and on tune into. But remember that the energy of that person is exactly the meal ticket you're getting. So no matter how trendy, popular, or righteous in their acts that one might appear to be, your discernment is highly, 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 highly needed to really see with such clarity. I had to ask, like, I went into certain um tarot readers stuff, and during even watching it, because you know, even some people would ask, why am I there? Because I guess the energy of their own intuition too is like this doesn't relate to you, like certain things, right? That I would go into. And even I would ask, why am I here? And it's like, shh, listen, my dear. And I would get it then. This is a long time buildup. This is a couple of years, okay? This is not just overnight. This is a while of me not ignoring, but transitioning through my own conditioning and having to really identify. So our passiveness, our passivity, passive natures, falsely humbled, is the distortion here. So due to your natural, genuine nature of not seeking revenge, not needing to be right, right? Like I that's another thing. I've been watching like some of my videos and I'm like, I say right too much. I hate it. But right. Right. But listen, okay. Um, Going back to what I was saying in the beginning, part of my cry, like when I was a little girl, like in elementary school, that I had these beautiful angels, earth angels, come in at different times to comfort me and to help build me up stronger, right? And I would cry at the cruelty, at the cruelty. Now, at this time, I was the problem child. In elementary into junior high school, um, because of my because of my rage. So, because I lost my temper quickly and resorted to violence immediately, um, I during those early childhood school time was special. I was um, even though academically wise I was fine, right? Because of my troublesome behaviors displayed, I was part of a special group of students that, um, and it wasn't many of us in elementary school. It was like less than 10, more than 5 students that were pulled from different classes, and it was project something government shit, right? We got pulled from our classes and had therapy and a lot of group kind of stuff and different kind of testing and observations and stuff like that. Like it's pretty interesting. I wonder what that project was all about because there was a lot of intuitive tests too. So that's pretty interesting, the things that we don't realize. And so through my whole elementary school, and mind you, that's when my mom died when I was in 5th grade. So that's it. And I in these sides of the town, you graduate from elementary school in the 5th grade. And then you go to junior high school, which is 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And before you go to high school, which is 9th, 10th, and 11th and 12th grade, if you're in public school. So I was in public school. The only time I was in private Catholic schools was for my religion instructions that was mandatory. So throughout my whole entire elementary, junior high school schooling, I was also attending Catholic school. This is extra school for Catholicism, and doing all the mandatory stuff that I was from my conditioning made to do. Like I didn't have a choice over that, so I had to do that. So yeah, so extra schooling and that kind of stuff. So yeah, and yeah, so in these things, I want you to understand how I was made to feel because of my behavior. So I'm the problem, okay? Right? No matter what, how you can try to help a child in toxic environments and abusive households or troublesome households or whatever the case may be, their behavior is always going to be a determining factor as to how they are treated, viewed, and made to feel. So because I acted out short tempered, I did myself no favors. right? Because of how I reacted. So by the time I got to my expression, it was so convoluted with the injustice that I felt that my act of defiance was my personal justice, right? So when children are misbehaving or acting out, a lot of our toxic conditioning is to punish the kid or make them immediately, what are you doing? Why are you acting this way? And all this kind of stuff. And you attack the child. And that's fucked up. Right? That's fucked up. That's real fucked up. Right? Meanwhile, children are the products of their environment. And so therefore that should be revelation to you to what the child is attempting to say or try. But you know, it's a flawed system and stuff like that and shit like that. So either way, back to the development of this, of what I'm trying to say, is that in our conditioning, right, regardless of what has developed for you over time, right, these things, these behavioral patterns of yours that have been chained in life, maybe you've been called too sensitive or crazy or you know, I got called crazy a lot for my intuition or nosy. I knew I'm not listening to nobody's business. I'm usually off in my own little world. But because as a channeler, you know, and a misguided child, you know, granted, I ruffled many feathers with the intuitiveness things I would say, rather bluntly. That would take many adults off guard, and they're toxic or unhealthy patterns of behavior of handling things were then displayed upon to me instead of developed or explored, which is why I have the awesome experience with my own child that went against the upbringing of my own, where I dealt with backlash in the way that I chose to speak to my daughter and make her feel empowered always, like the soul she is, and that no dictation shall ever be made to manipulate her position. And so, in all my mama bear ways, I made sure that anyone she came into contact with spoke to her or treated her with the same soul respect. And made sure people were mindful about how they talk to my child. And anybody that had an issue to take it up with me. And so raising her, we've had some encounters where Mama Bear shut everything down with the wisdom of articulation that even impressed me. That's divine. because I always put it out there that I'm not going to be combative and I'm not going to like start a war. But I know that when the time comes and something need be said, it would be with the wisdom of the divine living within I that will show up every single time. And that's how that's found out. The human didn't really speak because of her own conditioning. It started a war. But led by the divine, guided by the divine, always seeking peaceful, harmonized, will show up in your actions every single time. And if once in a while you like slip up, it's okay. Tend to that wound, lick it away, but tend to that wound. Right? So anyway, so in your conditioning, there has been a passiveness to your development that is being brought to the surface at this time. And I see it in my own development of where I am in my own evolution of stepping on some toes and not from ego, which is the battle, right? So sometimes, right, there have been people that you have saved from the murder onslaught of something you could have said that would have destroyed their entire universe. But because you are not about that life, you don't even go there. Although you have the ammo, the bullet, the arsenal, the leverage, the articulation, the sovereignty, the green fucking light. You got the alchemy. That's what that's all about. And because part of the conditioning of shame, of not wanting to be that kind of way, a passiveness to your conditioning stance needs to be extracted, popped, slit open, and dissected. Because there are no toes you are stepping on when you allow yourself to simply be whatever you desire, however you inspire. And even if your views are different, this is me, going back into the spirit of things. I stayed away from a lot of worldly things because of how upsetting it would get me. That I even left the planet for 10 plus years, where even though I was on certain social media platforms, all worldly things I kept away from in full avoidance of my personal own opinions and inner sight that differ from most of the fucking masses. And because of my strong views, I felt that it was best to just not be a part of it. Because I don't want to be the one to stir the pot and be the troublemaker that I've always been made to feel, because I don't agree with the majority. Bringing me back to that elementary school lesson of crying, my victim side, crying from the cruelty of all those kids that were cruel, especially after my mom had died. The horrible things, the rumors, the horrible depictions and things they said about my mother, especially after she died, was hurtful, beyond hurtful. So much so that by the end of my fifth grade year, I had sunk into such a massive depression, like a black hole. So from the age of 9 to the black hole, the black hole part lasted to like from fifth grade, from 9 to beginning of eighth grade, where I snapped out of something and I snapped back at life again. Like the fighter me from the black hole part, although fighter be life, right? The fight in me had died some, and fear took over in a different kind of way. And so a shell of my own existence, even from that point, was, I don't even know, dark, very dark. Especially I want to say 9 and 10 years old. Like 9 and 10 years old, black. Blackness was life. Then you snap out of it somewhat, right? So 11, 12, right? But fear rules. And so the earth angels, different, were the ones that showed up to speak, especially my fifth grade teacher, Roseanne Dick. That was her name. Mrs. Dick. She was, I swear, and I've spoken about her before, but I promise she was some kind of like intuitive empath, earth angel. She's a beautiful soul, very beautiful. And she was the best teacher to have during the year that my mother passed away, because she was such a nurturer for me of compassion to my loss. And I remember I was crying, hysterical. All the kids, they were at like gym or auditorium or lunch or something, and we're in the classroom, and I'm just hysterical. And I finally come back to school after like my mom had died, and I'm just like crying, and what? It's just I don't understand. Um, I would, I would never do that. Bam! You would never do that. That's what I'm talking about. it's one thing for like um, person, like a YouTuber, talking about someone's karma and that they're going to reap their karma. It shows up in the cards and stuff like that. And granted, you can say those kind of things, right? Like, wow, I hope this person realizes the amount of karma they're building for themselves. Like, because, whoa, right? But when someone receives their karma, that's never going to be up to us. It may not even be in this lifetime. This lifetime might be your karma to watch them not have or appear to suffer from any karma, because part of your karma is to let that shit go, right? And that's for somebody, right? So the more you hold on to the demon part of whatever you think you're justified for, right? So anyways, so that was my cry. I never do that. Her words for me, the first recollection of memory I have of receiving them is her. Although others have said the same thing, when I have caught myself, I guess, being met with a cycle that I still was healing, right? Not having transmuted yet, transformed, understood, overstood, right? I'm still going through karma from that kind of pain that I need to heal from. But she's the only memory of this moment that I hold onto, that I can see. All the others, I wouldn't even be able to tell you who said it, although I know I've heard it again. She's the memory, the the program I remember, because she was an important figure at that time for me because of her sincerity and her angelic vibes and her motherly vibes. I just lost my mother, and she was just so good to me, because part of my journey was feeling like after my mother died, I was left with people that were there to make my life a living hell, you know? And so, in all my upbringing, too, in the war that I had with some family members, my words that I allowed my rage to say to these people, I justified because I was right to say what I said. But even when I was saying it, I was met with another attack of guilt because my spite hurt me more than being right. And so it was these moments with these people that I felt strongly wronged by. Like it was an injustice that in my own defense, that may have not been nice to say that. I was met with my truth, which was, that's not the answer. And so it was in these moments to myself that I vowed to work on controlling myself because I'm not. Granted, I have had moments with devils and demons where my test became my testament. So feeling that, recognizing that, took a cycle of a lot. Now, time passes. You've met with a lot of angels and demons. You have exhibited great discipline and control. You have evolved. You're growing. You find harmony in things. You operate so differently than those around you. Even good people around you. You still see the unhealed version of themselves that can be triggered. But there's still something passive about your behavior. Allowing certain behaviors to still exist around you because of your morality. So now it's the balancing act of that, of learning to speak your medicine, even if it stirs the pot, even if it ruffles feathers, even if it cuts through. Does spite rule you? I don't think so. The conditioning will create some kind of okay. So great. All right. So I have to start wrapping this up. I do want to continue to explore wherever this tarot monologue is going, but I do have a point to make about your voice of expression and stuff like that, and truths of the matter of certain kind of things. If you are not going to be the voice of truth in your own articulation through the alchemy that is you, right? Then you need the dominating energies to still continue to breed and feed that which pollutants they are into the atmosphere to further infiltrate and influence the environment that you want to be more supportive of the wisdom and the alchemy that is you, right? So this was going into, I thought, like relationship shit. So, right. So there's some kind of message coming in, right? And there's some kind of truth that needs to be seen because this is about incompatibility. Okay, it's something that you decide that you want or need, right? Especially in terms of marriage or partnering, right? So there's a leveling of incompatibleness that one must really really check, right? Because here we have, you see, right? With this couple, the one says stop, the other says go. The one wants to have his or her cake, the other to eat it. In brief, both persons depicted on this card are completely incompatible at first glance, right? You are already very close to one of them and vehemently argue his or her point. Now you face a real dilemma, right? This is why the card says there is also other points of view, another side of the coin. For this moment, you're overlooking it, and this makes you one-sided. This is not healthy, right? So whatever view you have in regards to a partnering or a way of partnering with someone or someone that is not, right? So there's justice here too, right? So It's someone too that is passionate about you or that wants to awaken the passions in you. So that's what I mean about passiveness. So there might be some kind of emotional truth about something in regards to a disappointment that you're experiencing that you have yet to bring into articulation to yourself, right? Because maybe it needs to be conveyed in some kind of way. It needs to be shared. It needs to be said. It needs to be spoken, right? So some kind of emotional truth needs to be spoken, released, or understood, right? And in regards to um, a union or a partnering or something that's incompatible with where you are now and what you're doing. It could be a thought process too. It can be the way you view a certain kind of something or the work that you put into a certain kind of something that's not compatible with you. So it could be like you could be denying a certain kind of truth or feeling or passion that you have about something, someone, someplace, or you could be feeling passionate about something, someone, someplace, and and you're not being reciprocated in return in that kind of way. So the reality of the truth is that you have to come into terms with that which you are creating for yourself and what you are holding on to in everyday life, right? So well, first, right? So the right. So it's like an eight thing. So it's finding out your real truth of internal woe and pain in regards to the situation that has you being that has you being passive in some kind of way, not fully emotionally stop fighting, expressing yourself to maybe a person about how they are making you feel, or maybe coming to terms with how you are making someone feel about how they are supposed to make you feel. And since they're not meeting you in the way that you feel that they should be making you feel, you're making them feel bad, or you're making this situation unhealthy for real because you're holding on to an ideal that really doesn't exist due to the incompatibleness that you're not allowing yourself to see, right? So what needs to be atoned for, right? It may be better to bring about this condition from within yourself in this way so you can determine the dosage and the duration of how long you're going to be this way or how you're going to view this way, right? Find out what can be done, what makes your consciousness ache so much, right? And then say, yes, I have the key to set myself free, to be all that I need to be, right? For myself at this time too, right? So making an atonement to that which you must atone for, right? For yourself. So it's bringing yourself emotional justice at this time, right? Right? So even here, right? The mother, right? So this card asks you to care for at least one of these three persons. The moon is a memory of your mother, the person who brought you into this world. Or the moon is also the persona of the small child within you. For the entire lives, every one of us carries inside his or herself the child that they were at birth. And the moon is the persona of the mature motherly woman inside of you. Each woman has the persona inside her that needs realization, right? And each man desires, among other things, a home in which he feels snug and warm, right? So the truth about how you feel about, hey, what your home life looks like, feels like, and what you desire it to be. And if there's an incompatible lover that you have to set free in order to receive the bliss that you seek, it comes from your own self within you deep, right? So the card wishes to remind you that one of these three figures feels undernourished. Think about how you feed it, right? Gotta go. Thank you so much. We'll tap and turn on, tune in later. This is the tarot monologue that went many different kind of ways. Let me know what you grasp from this evolution of mana that is here for you. There will be a master link in here that will connect you and I in every single platform that is available for you and I to further connect on. Use it, apply it. There is a new awesome subscription offer feature that is on my Instagram at Enchantress, ENCHANTRESS, that connects you and I more. I do exclusive content for subscribers only that is posted there on my Instagram, hidden from the general public. So once you subscribe, you will have immediate access to the exclusive content that is shared on there that you will be able to see exclusively and stuff like that, and have direct access to me. Yes, we're going. All right, so I gotta go. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.